Welcome, guys. Sit down with Sid Podcast, episode number 10. And today I have all the way from Germany a friend of mine with over 10 years experience in strategic marketing and sponsoring management. She has worked for the first division soccer clubs and the soccer museum in Germany. She is a founder of a marketing agency focusing on strategic brand management and digital marketing. She also holds her bachelor degree in sports marketing and event management from the University of Applied Science and master's in economics from University of Applied Management in Germany. Besides that, she is also a nutritionist coach who helps people adopt healthy lifestyle habits and currently resides in Dortmund, Germany. Without any further ado, let me welcome Stefanie Schulte. Hi, Stefanie. How you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm very good.
Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem. So I know today's topic is a very personal topic. Uh, Before we get into that, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, your family, your educational background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 30 years old and I grew up with my sister, my parents, my grandparents on the countryside in the Rhine-Ruhr area in Germany. I've always been really interested in sports, so I did a lot of sports in my youth, like tennis to kung fu, everything, and a lot of soccer. Right now, I do a lot of CrossFit, and before I did bodybuilding, so I tried everything kind of. And when I was a teenager, right after school, I decided I wanted to do something related to soccer in my career. So I decided to study sport management and event management. And in the meantime, I also worked for some soccer clubs here in Germany. And as this wasn't enough, I did my master's degree in economics because I thought, yeah, I need some more background to really fulfill the management part of it. So yeah, then I worked for the soccer museum in Germany, which was great. I met a lot of people. We did excellent marketing there, right from scratch. It opened 6 years ago, I think. So I was there right from the beginning, and it was a lot of fun. But at the end, there wasn't much perspective for my career, so I switched to a health insurance. Um, yeah, which was a very different side, but I was a sponsoring manager there. So I'm still there, so I have a lot to do with sports and sponsoring. And yeah, I can still be in the field of sports and marketing, and that's what I love about it. And at the beginning of this year, I did like a little break, so I decided to cut down my working hours, and I'm now free on Thursdays and Fridays because I wanted to set up my own marketing agency and become an entrepreneur.
Love that.
Yeah, and it started right away. So I have two jobs that I enjoy now. Yeah, I
And do
think that's it.
you, so in your marketing agency, do you cater more towards the sports section or it's applicable to anyone, any industry?
It's applicable to anyone. I do have clients from the sports side, but it's not necessarily that it has to be from the sports side.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So I know today's topic, as I had mentioned before, uh, we're going to talk about, how you overcame depression and how you were able to find yourself. Now, before we went on camera, we did speak about it like a lot of people have it, but, a lot of people do not talk about it openly. So um, I have so much respect for you for coming on the podcast and talking about it openly because I believe that this awareness is very important, for society to know. So I really appreciate that. Uh, that being said,
Thank you.
what does depression mean to you?
Well, on the one hand, I think it's a really dark and cold place. without hope, and you don't have your own will. It's a lot of desperation and loneliness. But looking back at it from where I am now, everything that came after it helped me to develop the person that I am today, and also to realize what I really want from life and what are my goals in life, you know. So it's kind of ambivalent for me, because I know how hard and cold it is to be on the rock bottom of depression, but also it bring a lot of positive things for me.
Well, at least the outcome is productive. I also want to share some of the stats. Uh, According to World Health Organization, globally, there is an estimated amount 322 million people actually worldwide are affected by depression. And what's mind-boggling, one of the facts that I came across was that depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. I did not know that. So I guess I find these stats very interesting. So let me ask you now, when did you started experiencing, depression, or anything specific that you believe it led to it?
Mhm. So I was reflecting on this question before,
Right.
and I think that it started quite early, like when I was in school. When I was 17 or 18, right before graduating from school, I felt a lot of pressure from myself. I didn't like to go to school anymore. I had days that I woke up and left the house, but turned around and went back into my house because I didn't want to go to school anymore. And I was crying and I was begging my mother not to take me there because I actually didn't want to go there. I was scared and I felt like I couldn't handle it anymore, and I wanted to leave school. I wanted to
Let me
quit.
ask you. So was there any specific reason why you did not want to go to school? You said you were scared, right?
Yeah, I think it was the pressure I felt. The pressure I put on myself and the pressure I thought everybody else had on me.
Okay.
Like teachers, my parents, even my friends. I thought they were expecting like me being perfect.
Right.
Um, but I knew I couldn't be perfect, you know. Well, I'm not that good in mathematics, but
Right.
on the other side, I might be good in languages. But you cannot be perfect in everything.
That's
But I
correct.
thought I had to satisfy, and that I can earn love from being the perfect daughter, uh, student,
And
whatever.
yeah. Okay.
But at the end, my teachers and my mother persuaded me to not quit school and to keep on going. So I graduated, and when I went to university, it was better again because it was a new environment, new people, and I felt I did something that I really enjoy.
So how old were you when you went to the university? What was
I was
the
19 when I studied university.
The reason why I ask is because according to Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Association, adolescents aged 12 to 17 years has the highest rate of major depressive episodes, followed by young adults 18 to 25 years old. So
Yeah.
that is why I wanted to know, when you said you were 17 when you were going to school and you started experiencing it, and then it kind of carried on towards the university, correct?
Yeah, you know, when I was younger, like 14, 15, 16,
Right.
when I was in puberty, I really had problems with my body, and I'm really small, and people were talking about it behind my back or right into my face. Maybe today you would say I was being bullied, but
Yeah,
it's not
that's
what I
true.
felt, but I just felt that I was not um, the same with everyone else.
Okay.
I was kind of outstanding
Mm-hmm.
because of my height, not being so tall, you know.
Okay.
Um, and it made me really angry. So sometimes I came home and I was so angry and I was fighting and screaming and throwing myself on the floor. And looking back, my therapist said that this could have been a kind of depression already. But
Okay.
we don't know because I didn't talk to anyone about it before. So it just fits into the story because there was a time when I couldn't handle being the person who I was. Maybe it's normal in puberty. Yes, probably with girls.
Right.
Yeah, they have problems with their body. But on the other hand, I was really aggressive to myself, to my mother. Not openly in public, but at home.
You were. So let me ask you now, when you were going through all of this, who did you reach out to? Who was the person who you reached out to, and were you able to get that support that you were looking for?
At this time, I was talking to my mother a lot,
Okay.
but quite later, after university, when I was already in Frankfurt, where I actually met you, right? I was working in the gym where we met, and I didn't feel really comfortable there. I was in a toxic relationship, so my depression got worse. I kind of slided into it. I didn't realize it, but I just went to the gym. I worked some days, and on the other days, I just stayed at home. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything that I enjoyed. So at one time, I was sitting at my home, and my mother was visiting me, and I was crying the whole time. So that she said, I'm going to take you home right now because you are not healthy. Something is wrong with you. And my parents decided to take me home.
And how long ago was that, Steffi?
Well, it was about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And it was a time span of about 4 to 5 months, I would say.
So that's around the same time when I met you 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell. I think no one on the outside realizes it.
That's good.
I was really happy on the outside. I was smiling. I was meeting all the appointments. I was meeting expectations at work. I was performing really well, but on the inside, I was not myself anymore. Yeah, I was tired. I was crying. I was sad. I was angry. Like every bad feeling you can imagine, I was feeling. So my mother took me home, and because of that, I lost my job in the gym.
But did she so my point is, when she took you home, did that help you a little bit before we'll talk about seeing a therapist? So that's my question. Like you said, your mom took you home, she saw you were not doing well. Did you see any change, or was it the same?
It helped, but I wanted to stay there with my parents.
Okay.
But on the other hand, I felt if I did that, it was a big, I personally was a big failure, because I took the decision to go to Frankfurt and to build a life there, and I didn't succeed. So after I lost my job, I started looking for a new job, which I actually found in Frankfurt. But I didn't make it back to Frankfurt. I was always planning tomorrow is the day where I start my job. I have to go there. But on that day before, I actually had a breakdown in my city on the street.
Okay.
And again, my mother had to pick me up, bring me home, talk to me. I don't know. I couldn't stop crying. So I was also the days before, I was in bed the whole day. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up to shower. I couldn't brush my teeth, anything. I was just crying or sleeping. That was the only opportunity. And so at the end, my mother was the person who said, we have to stop this. We have to take you to the hospital. Because I openly told her what I was feeling, and she was literally scared that I would die.
So let me ask you now this. I know you have covered a lot. So how did it impacted living with your own self, your habits and relationships, such as with family, friends? What was going on? Like, I know you said you were aggressive, but is there something else we are missing on this from your end?
So I think the thing that kept me alive in Frankfurt was going to the gym every day.
Okay.
I had a little routine.
Mm-hmm.
but still it was unhealthy because I didn't eat on the other hand. And if you're not nurtured, you cannot give 100% in the gym, you will collapse from it. So I was really thin. My body was not able to live through the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was tired. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to speak to my friends. Um, I just wanted to stay alone in my bed and wait for something to happen, what I don't really know it was.
Got
So
it.
I was praying that someone was coming and take all the pain away from me. But of course, that would not happen. And I know that my sister, she lived with my parent at this time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't want to be at home and hear me crying all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And also my father, he's not the emotional type. He couldn't deal with it. He was telling me like, hey, you're 24 years old. Please, like, get your shit together and go get you a job, go work. Like everyone else can do it. Why can't you do it? He couldn't understand what was going on.
I think I
And
think he I think he did, but being a father, he just wanted to be assertive and
yeah,
reinforce positive affirmations inside you. Because you know what? I mean, if your father will become soft, it will be a little bit challenging for your mother also to cope with you. So I guess, you know, maybe, men work differently than women in terms of discipline and like, saying things to kids. So,
yeah. So even if you don't know what depression is and what it is doing with your inside, you don't know what is right to say and what is wrong, of
that is
course.
correct. So let me ask you now. So I know you said that your mom said, okay, now we're going to take you to the hospital. So what treatments was suggested to you, and did you had any expectations? And if yes, then were they actually met? That's my question.
Yeah, so my mother took me to our, I don't know what you say, is a general practitioner, something like this.
Okay.
Like a doctor you just can go to with everything.
So is it like a general physician? Because if you are
Yeah,
suffering from depression, you usually go to like I think psychiatrists and
yeah, but
hypnotherapists, those people.
yeah. So she said, well, I can give you medications.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother said, well, I think she needs more help, like on the daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then the doctor said, okay, if you want it, she asked me, we can advise you to the hospital. And I was like, I didn't care at that time anymore. I just wanted someone to help me or that this all ends. So I agreed, which was definitely the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And on the same day, my mother took me to the hospital. Um, the funny thing about this is that on the coming weekend, I wanted to go to Spain to a wedding of two of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So my backpack was already packed. So I just went home, took my backpack, and we drove to the hospital. Um, and I came into a unit that was closed,
Mm-hmm.
so I couldn't leave it because they were scared I was trying to kill myself. So they take away any belt, any shoelaces, whatever you
So,
have.
so I just want to interject on this. I wanted to continue on that because my next question was, were there any times when you felt like giving up, you know? And then if that was the case, which it seems like from the action of the hospital staff, what kept you going? So can we revert back? So when you said they put you in this room where they took the shoelaces off or whatever, because they thought you would kill yourself, and then how did that kind of what was the next step there?
Yeah. So over the weeks before I got hospitalized, I had the feeling of I just want to end this,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily my life, but I just wanted to end the pain and what I had to endure,
Mm-hmm.
because I just couldn't take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what solutions do you have when you are lying in bed? It's like thinking about how can I end it. You definitely think, and I definitely thought about taking my life, but I couldn't imagine how my family would feel about it. So I talked to my mother about it, and I told her what I felt, and she told me what she felt. So it actually, I didn't even have the strength to continue thinking about it or actually do it, and I didn't want to do it, but it was my only solution at that time.
In
So
your
that
mind.
was also a reason why my mother took me to the doctor, because she slept in my bed with me to take care that I would not do anything.
So is it correct to say that your mother was the support that kept you going? She was the
Yeah,
anchor.
absolutely. My mother, my family, yeah.
So 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 were you given some treatments? How long was the treatment? What's what was that?
So in this unit, which was actually closed, I mean, you could walk around in this unit, but you could not leave the unit alone, only with a nurse or friends or parents. I was there for 5 days, I think, only to sleep and to rest and to get a kind of clear mind, because I was totally confused. My feelings were all over, so I just came down a bit in this unit. And then they offered me to be transferred to another unit where I would get therapy. So I stayed there for about 4 to 6 weeks, if I remember correctly.
So is that
And
more like a rehabilitation center?
yeah, it was integrated into the hospital. It was just a unit, but I think they do pretty much the same. I think the system in Germany and the US is a bit different. So I think it's pretty much the same.
So when you say therapy, what kind of therapy was prescribed by them?
Talking to a therapist 2 times a week, gardening therapy, a lot of sports and movements therapy, therapies like dancing or acting, jumping on a trampoline, a lot of things that get you moving and that gets your hormones working again, so your endorphins, your dopamine. And I also got sertraline as medication,
Okay.
but I couldn't take it. I got the worst stomach ache ever, because the problem is the side effects start before it actually works in the way it is supposed to be working.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I stopped it, and I got fluoxetine after it, um, on a moderate dose. It's just to support, because I had the problem, I couldn't sleep at night and I wanted to sleep in the morning. But in this unit, I was forced to wake up at 7 o'clock and to go to get breakfast, get my medication, go to the therapies, have lunch, go to the therapies, have dinner, and go to bed around 10. So you have a structure again in your day. You learn to structure your day, and yeah, you have to be willing to be there and to work.
So now that was for 4 to 6 weeks. So when that ended, my question to you is, did it help? Did it help eradicate the depression you had?
Sorry. I always say that I felt better, I was stabilized, but I was not healed in any way. If I would have stayed at home, I would have been depressed again right away. So what I did, I went to another institution where I received ongoing therapy every day. So I had to be there for breakfast and stayed until 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I had therapies again, like sports, woodwork, talking to therapists. And yeah, I would go home in the evening and sleep at
Mm-hmm.
home
Okay.
for another 2 months, I guess. And after that, I felt much better because I knew I could handle, yeah, being independent,
Mm-hmm.
like there, going home, and also seeing my friends in the afternoon again.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the year, this therapy was finished. And from that point on, I was seeing a therapist once a week for about 2 years. Like it was a behavioral therapy. Is
Behavioral
it right?
therapy. Yes, yes, that is correct.
Um, so I learned a lot about myself. Um,
So let me
about
ask you now. Uh, Go ahead. Let
yeah,
me please go ahead.
like about what kind of things do trigger me,
Mm-hmm.
what makes me angry, why do I feel angry, what do I want to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Like I decided to move out of my parents' house real quick
Mm-hmm.
and to find a job. So I moved to Dortmund
Mm-hmm.
because I found a job in the soccer museum.
Mm-hmm.
And that really helped me to have a job and to go there every day. And I tell you, the weekends was the worst because I was at home and I didn't know what to do with the
Right.
time I had. Because when you're depressed, you don't enjoy anything. Even what I enjoyed most in life was sport. Even if I went for a walk or for a run, I couldn't enjoy it. So I had to learn what to do with my free time again and what I do enjoy and what maybe I don't enjoy, but to figure out what I want to do with my free time.
So let me ask you now. How have things changed since then? Um, could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah.
This is like 2 years you went to the therapy. So after that, how have things changed for you?
mm, I think I'm more independent, like
Mm-hmm.
every year a bit. But the most important thing for me was that 2 years ago, I decided to do another therapy. And that was what really helped me because I was stabilized. I had some experience on being on my own, being independent. And in this last 2 years, I think it made click. Like I wasn't depressed before, but it's not like it's always up and down in life. That's normal. But being depressed, the downs might be a bit more down than normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn what can I do when I feel down, and before it gets really bad, So to feel inside myself, not
Mm-hmm.
to rush through life, because I think in our society we are sometimes like we know what is on for the day and we rush through it, just tick the checkbox. I did this, I did this, I did this. And at the end of the day, you go to bed, you sleep, and next day you repeat. But for me, it's really essential to stop in the middle of the day and to ask myself, how do I feel? How stressed I am? How tired am I? Am I angry? Am I happy? Am I sad? And to take care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I know I'm really stressed, I have to take a break, do some breathing exercise, or just cancel appointments in the day because I know at the end it's more important that I'm healthy
Mm-hmm.
and mentally stable than that I fulfill expectations of someone else. So I think this is the most important thing that I learned, and that led to my decision to cut down my working hours in my current job and to try to be an entrepreneur.
Very good. Very good. Uh, So why is speaking openly about this topic so important to you? It's a very personal
Mm,
question, but I think
yeah,
myself and the audience would love to know.
yeah. So I realized that I was always open about what I felt and what I had, but I realized that when I talk to people about it, a lot of people say, "Yeah, I've been there, I've done that, I know how it feels," but they are not open about it because people are ashamed, people are scared to be judged. The illness is stigmatized in society
Mm-hmm.
because people think that people who are depressed are lazy. They just have to get their shit together, like my father said, you know. But if you are at this point, you can't. You have no hope and you have no will to do anything about it. So I think the more people talk about depression and mental health in general, the more it will be normalized, like having a flu or a broken leg, you know. Um, yeah, I
There will be
think
more
our
awareness.
world, sorry, yeah, like an illness, yeah.
Okay.
So I think our world, like how we work in corporate companies, we are used to perform on a very high level
Mm-hmm.
and not to show our emotions. We are asked to leave our emotions at home. So I don't know, even if my father had a heart attack, I would have gone to work, not talk about it, not show any emotion, and just perform. But it's not healthy because in the inside, you worry. I did worry about my dad, you know, and I wasn't capable of performing as high as if it would have been a normal week. So I think it's important to just go to work and tell people like, hey, I have this and this problem, and today I'm not feeling good. So maybe I go home. I take mental health days off. Like people wouldn't call in sick because they feel like they can't get out of bed or just
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed with their emotions. People don't do this because they feel like, oh, it's just my feeling. Like, well, get over it, get your shit together, and go to work. But it's not healthy, you know. You can perform on a stress level like this normally, and you perform on a stress level like this all the time. You can't stand it. It will kill you.
So let me ask you now. So, like in US here, there are some corporate companies, or a lot of them, that offer counseling services. It's like a mandatory requirement. Like they offer it to the employees in case if you're feeling overwhelmed, because the corporate world is a very competitive world. You know, so
Absolutely.
so I think that's one of the reasons they don't want you to bring your emotions when you come to work. Do you have something similar like that in Germany in the company's culture?
I have never heard of it. There might be some companies, especially US companies, probably, if you
Mm-hmm.
have this system, that offer this. But I've never seen it in a company where I worked. Maybe like bigger corporate companies do have it, but I have to admit it was smaller companies that I did work for, like 1,000 people. But I
Mm-hmm.
think every company should have someone like this.
Yeah, I think it will be a good leadership kind of, you know, qualities followed by a company. Uh, my main question now, the most important question that ties this whole thing together: are you able to find yourself now, or were you
Yeah,
able to find yourself?
absolutely. That's what I was talking about when I had therapy, like in the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it made like click. I could figure out what I really want in life, um, how valuable my mental health is for me, because without mental health, I'm nothing. I cannot perform. I cannot do my sports. I will just lie in bed again, probably. So for me, the most important thing is to take my rest. Even if I might need more rest than anyone else, it's just doing what is good for me. And I don't have to meet expectations of anyone else. And that also included to end some relationships or to put at least a little bit more distance in between some persons and myself.
Well, at least, there's always hope at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the closing question, or, what is your message to the audience who is watching this podcast?
Yeah. So the first or the most important thing is talk. If you feel depressed or any symptoms of it, talk to someone, a health professional, a teacher, a family member, a coworker, whatever, but just be open about it, because I think in most of the times you are not able to get out of it alone. Because when you are depressed, you don't have the capabilities of calling someone. You are probably scared, or you just don't feel like calling like a psychiatrist or getting an appointment. Sometimes it takes really long to get an appointment. So you need someone who goes there with you. You need someone who does the phone calls for you. So the most important thing for me is talk about how you feel every time, not when you're depressed, but always. And yeah, don't be too hard to yourself, because standards in our society are really high. And I think we have to set priorities like for our health. And yeah, as I already said, the most important thing for me is my mental health and my physical health, because without health, you are not possible to do anything.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, Steffi, listen, this has been a very interesting podcast. And, I just want to thank you for coming on this podcast, sharing this information with the people so they are more aware of themselves, their state of mind. So I'm this is a very positive outcome from your end to come and talk about this. So I just want to really thank you for this. And listen, keep smiling, keep spreading positive vibes. And, I will definitely love to invite you again sometime in the near future. And yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for being so open to take this topic into your podcast. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please like, subscribe. Once again, thanks, Steffi. Have a good night, okay? Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye.